The offseason in Dallas always carries a certain weight, a certain expectation that goes beyond just filling roster holes. When you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, every move is dissected through the lens of contention, legacy, and the pressure to return to the top of the NFL. And right now, this team sits in a fascinating position, not quite among the elite, but clearly building towards something that could become dangerous if the right pieces fall into place. There's a sense that this offseason wasn't about making the loudest splash, but about reshaping the identity of the team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. After a 2025 season where the defense struggled badly, giving up over 30 points per game, the front office and coaching staff knew something had to change. And that shift begins with philosophy, with personnel, and with a willingness to take calculated risks. One of the more under-the-radar moves that could end up having a massive impact is the addition of Kobe Durant. On the surface, it's a one-year deal, not the kind of signing that dominates headlines. But when you look deeper, you start to understand why this could be a turning point for the secondary. Durant brings versatility, something defensive coordinator Christian Parker is clearly prioritizing. He can line up outside, he can slide into the slot, and most importantly, he's coming off a season where he showed elite ball skills with 6 interceptions, including a league-leading 3 in the postseason. That matters because this defense didn't just struggle last year. It lacked playmaking. It lacked the ability to flip momentum. Durant changes that equation. He's the type of player who allows a defensive coordinator to disguise coverages, to be unpredictable, and to build a system where roles are fluid rather than fixed. And in today's NFL, that kind of flexibility isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. But if you want to understand the offensive identity of this team, you have to look at the decision to bring back Javonte Williams. This wasn't just a re-signing, it was a statement. The Cowboys are committing to a physical, balanced offense under Brian Schottenheimer. Williams had a breakout year, putting up career highs and establishing himself as a true bell cow running back. And when you pair that with an offensive line that remains intact, especially a dominant right side anchored by Tyler Booker and Terrence Steele, you start to see the blueprint. This is a team that wants to control the game on the ground, open up play-action opportunities, and dictate tempo. Williams isn't just a runner. He's the engine that makes everything else work. His presence forces defenses to respect the run, which in turn creates space in the passing game. It's a ripple effect that elevates the entire offense. Now, shifting back to the defensive side, the addition of Jalen Thompson might be one of the most important moves of the entire offseason. Not just because of his talent, but because of what he represents culturally. Thompson talked about the family feel in Dallas, something he felt was missing in his previous stop. And that matters more than people realize. When you're trying to rebuild a defense, it's not just about talent. It's about cohesion, communication, and trust. Thompson already has a relationship with secondary coach Ryan Smith, and that familiarity could accelerate the development of this unit. More importantly, Thompson believes in what this defense can become. He believes they have the right pieces. And belief, especially after a rough season, can be a powerful catalyst. Right now, though, the biggest question mark on this roster sits at linebacker. It's not just a weakness, it's an urgent need. The Cowboys know they can't afford to wait until the draft and hope things fall their way. That's why trade discussions involving players like Azeez Al-Shaair and Jordan Brooks are so significant. Both players bring something different to the table. Al-Shaair offers physicality and leadership, while Brooks provides athleticism and range. Either one would immediately upgrade the middle of this defense. And that's the key. This isn't about adding depth, it's about finding a tone setter, someone who can anchor the unit and bring stability to a position that has been a revolving door. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the Cowboys offseason and want more breakdowns like this all the way through the draft and into the season, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay locked in, because what's coming next for Dallas could define their entire future. Now let's talk about the pass rush, because this is where things get really interesting. The Cowboys made a serious push to land Max Crosby, even offering significant draft capital and showing a willingness to take on his contract and injury risk. That tells you everything you need to know about how aggressive this front office is willing to be in this current window. When that deal fell through, they pivoted to acquiring Rashawn Gary, a move that still gives them a proven edge presence. But it also signals that they're not done. All signs point to the Cowboys targeting another pass rusher in the draft, possibly as early as the first round. Names like David Bailey are starting to gain traction, and it makes sense. This defense needs juice off the edge. It needs someone who can consistently pressure the quarterback and change the complexion of games. Pairing a rookie like Bailey with Gary could give Dallas a dynamic pass-rushing duo that transforms the front seven. And that brings us to the draft strategy, which might be the most fascinating part of this entire offseason. The Cowboys have multiple paths they can take, and each one comes with its own risks and rewards. They could stay put at pick 12 and hope a top defender falls into their lap. They could get aggressive and trade up for a blue-chip prospect. They could trade back and accumulate more picks to address multiple needs. Or they could do a combination of moves to maximize value. What's clear is that this team is not just drafting for talent, they're drafting for fit. Christian Parker is building a multiple 3-4 defense that prioritizes intelligence, physicality, and versatility. That means every pick has to align with that vision. Whether it's a linebacker who can command the middle, an edge rusher who can set the edge and rush the passer, or a nickel defender who can do a little bit of everything, the goal is to create a cohesive unit. Even in the later rounds, the Cowboys are looking for players who can contribute immediately or develop into key pieces. Prospects like Josiah Trotter, Jyshawn Barham, and Treydan Stukes all represent different ways to address the team's needs while staying true to the defensive philosophy. And then there's the wildcard factor, Jerry Jones. He's never been afraid to make a move, to take a swing, to shake things up, whether it's trading for a veteran like Jonathan Greenwood or making a draft day deal to move up or down the board. You can't rule anything out. That unpredictability is part of what makes the Cowboys so fascinating and at times so frustrating. Right now, the overall perception of this offseason is somewhere in the middle. Fans are giving it a B to C grade, which feels about right. The team has made meaningful improvements, especially on defense, but they haven't made that one defining move that screams Super Bowl contender. The odds reflect that too, with Dallas sitting outside the top tier of favorites. But here's the thing. The gap between a good team and a great team in the NFL is often smaller than it seems. One breakout player, one successful draft class, one key trade can change everything. And the Cowboys are positioned in a way where that leap is possible. As this offseason continues to unfold and the draft approaches, every decision becomes more critical. This is a pivotal moment for the franchise. They're not rebuilding, they're retooling. They're trying to maximize a window, to build a roster that can compete at the highest level. And if they get it right, if the pieces come together the way they believe they can, this could be the start of something much bigger than just a bounce-back season. So if you want to stay ahead of every move, every rumor, and every analysis as the Cowboys push toward the 2026 season, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this ride is just getting started.